Okay, here we go. The first man out on the track is Byron Mitchell. Byron, of course, raced that car in Clubman's Class E last year. And it's great to see Byron back out on track. He's decided that he wants to give a GTI challenge a go from the Clubman. So Byron Mitchell has shifted to the GTI challenge side of it. And so we'll have a look and see what he's going to do this year. There's quite a few new guns coming through from from karting that's made their way into GTI Challenge. Kai van Zyl, the son of Aldrin van Zyl, that's an ex-champion at GTI Challenge. Kai also a brilliant Western Province karter. This young man coming through, and then young Tate Bishop, a man that's a multiple Western Province karter, races Junior Max, Western Province champion, has done extremely well in the SA Championship karting series as well. And we welcome Tate Bishop to the main circuit, GTI Challenge Class C.
Well, already 15 cars out on circuit, and there's a couple that there's no reading on the board for them yet, so it's going to get more. There's no doubt about it. I see one or two of them still standing in the pits, so one or two guys have got a bit of problems to get their cars out on circuit. Marco Busi starting his first time lap. You see there's Jonathan Vestes and Lee-Ann Smith in there now as well. Nadia Nair as well. So a total of 19 car driver combinations out there on circuit, with one lady racer taking on the might of all the lads. Sorry, correction on that one. It's Lee-Ann and Nadia that's out there on circuit. Dario Busi getting out onto the track as well. So he's going to be running with a Class B car this season. Well, Dario Busi, Class C last year, reigning Uttinger Polo National Champion. And moving into Class B, I think he's probably going to be the man to catch, as our lady racers are going to be starting their timed lap in the not too distant future. I do believe you're going to find that Class A is probably going to be the most exciting class out there today. A big contingency of Class A cars, and I think you're going to find the likes of Jarno van der Westhuizen is going to be right in there amongst them as well. He hasn't raced for a period of time. He's been doing a lot of instruction work on the Kutsia car driver combination, and he's very, very well schooled from the National Series side of things. Marco Busi, 125.9. He leads out, the first man to set up a time.
But the times will now begin to come through as the drivers work their way. Here comes Ian Thompson, Dylan Jabber.
It's game on.
Making his way past Ian Cup. So
Umbi Swart goes to the front with the first time lap. He goes out 1/10 of a second. It's game on at the front of GTI.
Well, that's exactly what we expected. He's done a 125.726. Marco, a 125.9. Mario Rue has done a 126.6. Dylan Jabber has done a PB of a 127. Jarno van der Westhuizen will still be coming through to start his first flying lap. Here comes the guys are coming through now once again, fast and furious. This should be Jarno van der Westhuizen heading towards us up on the inside line. Let's have a look, see. Yes, it is. Jarno comes through. Let's have a look and see where Jarno, what time Jarno has posted. The moment we roll back to the top end of the leaderboard, Jarno van der Westhuizen, third fastest man out there with a personal best of a 126.578.
Oh, well, as Tiny said earlier on, once the Southeaster comes up later on, it's going to be all about the slipstreaming down the back main. It makes a big, big difference. Once you lose out on that slipstream, it's game, set, and match. Well, I think it was Eden Thompson's come through as well. So Eden Thompson is leading in the Class Bs. Eden Thompson on a 28.8 is the quickest of the Class Bs out there. But pretty much to be expected, I suppose.
Well, I see Dario Busi in the Class B outfit sits down there, 19th position. So not going all that well out there for him. We'll have a look and see. I'm sure he'll come through on a flyer somewhere as Skulk comes through. There's Tate Bishop coming through. He's in the 94 Golf Class C, and also finding his feet out here on the main circuit as Tate Bishop. He's sitting down in 14th position with a 131.125.
Carl Wiltshire, the quickest of the Class C's. Carl Wiltshire from Alfie van Sale, from Tate Bishop, from Skalkie Geldenhuys, then Colin Smith and Matthew Rowe.
Yeah, Janu van der Westhuizen just came cruising past now, Gary, and that polo didn't sound too healthy at all.
Oh, that's a pity because he's had brake problems with that car. They got the brake problem sorted out and they were pretty comfortable with it. And it was on the dyno yesterday and he was pretty chuffed with the results that they got from the dyno runs. Unfortunately, not working out for him. 3 minutes 45 to go. Class A, Oompie and Larker on the front row of the grid. At this stage, Jason Cooks here alongside Jana van der Westhuizen on row number 2 provisionally with Mario Roux on the third row of the grid on the inside with 3.5 minutes to go.
3.5 minutes to go in this 10-minute qualifying session for cheaper cars, GTI Challenge. This is going to be great stuff the moment we get to the actual racing. Brent van der Schyff making his way through. We've got a car in trouble in turn 1. It kept on going straight. We'll get Emil to have a look through the binoculars to have a see exactly who that car was that went straight on. As Colin Meader makes his way past us, and he's in 7th position with a PB of a 129.
Well, it was Eden Thompson that overshot, but I don't think he'll be too upset with that. He's just qualified top of Class B ahead of Dario Busi. So as long as there was no damage done with that one, Class B at this stage, Eden Thompson from Dario Busi, Byron Mitchell, the iRacer from Ian Cap, and then Brent van der Schyff just a little bit further back.
Well, your top Class C cars so far is Kyle Wiltshire and Alfie van Sale.
Of what?
So the top 2 Class A cars, Class C cars so far is Kyle Wiltshire and Alfie van Sale. They are the leading Class C cars, and they're down in P13 and 14. All the other guys ahead of them are Class A and B. And then we've got all the other Class C cars. Look what Tate Bishop has worked his way up to. Never mind the fact that he's overall in P16. That means nothing. He's the 3rd fastest Class C car out there, and that is exactly, Gary, what I expected from Tate Bishop, Western Province karting champion.
Well, I think Mario Roux will probably be a little bit disappointed with this run in Class A, finding himself behind probably of the best in South Africa. Marco and Oompie on the front row, Jason and Jana on the second row, Dylan and himself on the third row, Colin Meader and Kai van Sale rounding out the rest of the Class A cars. Remember, Kai, son of an ex-class champion, but making his debut here today. So you would expect that he would be at the back of the class. Still quick enough for all the Class B guys. Eden Thompson from Dario Busi, and not too much between them, 7/10 of a second between the two of them. Dario is still out on circuit, so I wouldn't be surprised if he pushes it just a little bit harder to see if he can maybe get that lead spot from Eden.
Well, as the time is rolling down, Dario Busi, Eden Thompson and Dario Busi are the top 2 Class B cars so far. Ian Cup making his way now into turn 1 KFM corner. Brent van der Schyff busy working his way through as well. So, Thompson and Busi, I expected them to be the top 2, and Byron Mitchell as well, a man that's an iRacer, ex-Clubman's racer, maybe still will do Clubman's, we're not too sure, and one of the quickest guys out here in a Formula VW in the Formula Libres. Remember, Gary, last year, 108s and 109s, Byron Mitchell
Crazy
with
stuff.
that single-seater as he blitzed his way, chasing Andrew Rackstraw. around Killarney main circuit.
Carl Walsher from Tate Bishop and Alfie van Sale with Colin Smith rounding out the top 4 in Class C. Skull Culdenace and Matthew Rowe and Leanne Smith rounding out that Class C. So Carl Walsher on a 30.6, a 30.8 by Tate, a 31.0. So literally 0.3 of a second between the front 3 in Class C and 0.3 of a second around this circuit where the Southeaster is, do you have a toe or don't you have a toe? That is 0.3 of a second.
On the last of the car still filtering their way across the start-finish line as the checkered flag has come out. The 10-minute qualifying session is over. That is Byron Mitchell. That's just making his way back into turn 1. Ian Cup as well. The checkered flag is out, so their session is done, which means that Umpi Swart and Marco Busi are on the front row of the grid. Followed there by Jason Kutsia and Janu van der Westhuizen. Let's hope that Janu's problem isn't anything serious. That car sounded very sick and rough when it came past us. He is in the pit area already. Is Janu van der Westhuizen, but he will be in P4. Dylan Jabir, Maro Ru, Colin Meader, Kai van Sale. Those are your Class A cars. Eden Thompson, Byron Mitchell, Dario Busi and Byron Mitchell and Ian Cup. Those are your first 4 Class B cars, and that would have been expected that they would have been 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Class B in exactly that order. Class C, Carl Walsher, Tate Bishop, and Alfie van Sale. I expected it basically more or less in that order between Walsher, Bishop, and van Sale. And then Colin Smith, Skull Culdenace, Matthew Rowe, and Leanne Smith. They are the rest of the Class C campaigners.
Well, there we go. So the whole idea to keep them all close to one another. Front row of the grid, Umpi Swart, Marco Busi. Behind that, Jason Kutsia, Jana van der Westhuizen. Now, the interesting thing is, Jason Kutsia is ahead of Jana van der Westhuizen. Jana van der Westhuizen has been hired to teach Jason Kutsia the finer detail of polos and Polo Cup, because he's going to be doing the Oettinger series for this year as well. So that's going to be pretty interesting stuff. Jano finds himself on the outside of row number 2. Then it's Dylan Jabir and Mario Roux that's rounding out the front grouping there with the Class A cars.
Very interesting to see that Charles Visser is not here. Apparently he blew an engine sometime, I'm not sure, according to Jano van der Westhuizen. Not here this meeting, had some engine issues, and yeah, hopefully he'll be out there by the next meeting.
I'm pretty sure. I think he has got a spare motor from the info that I got from Jano. So, yeah, I think it's a case of time to be able to get that motor in. Bringing up the rear end of Class A, Mario Roux, Colin Meader, and the newcomer Kai van Sale. Colin Meader on a 126.8 as opposed to a 125.7. So 1.1 off the fastest Class A times there for Colin Meader. Believe that the feed that's coming out at home is a little bit on the soft side, so we've turned our mics up just a little. I hope that that is going to be correct for you folks at home, because we're probably going to be a whole lot louder when this one gets off the line. Let's have a look at the Class Bs for the opening round of Cheaper Cars GTI Challenge for 2021. Eden Thompson alongside him, the reigning Oettinger Polo Cup champion, Dario Busi. Byron Mitchell, super duper quick on the second row with Ian Cup. And then Brent van der Skyf rounding out the top 5 in the Class Bs. A completely different look to Class C this year as opposed to what we had at the end of last year with the Bratback. Carl Walsher, I think, was probably a late entry, in fact, into today's racing. He tops out on a 130.699. The Class Cs from Tate Bishop, Alfie van Sale, Colin Smith, Skull Culdenace, Matthew Rowe, and then the lady racer, Leanne Smith. So Umpi in the Umpini Carbs and Coffee GT Graphics sponsored VW on the front row of the grid. The Automan car of Marco Busi. Looks like Jason in the 77 car, good to go on the inside of Jan van der Westhuizen. That is the front four. Dylan Joubert finds himself just outside of those two front rows, and Dylan Joubert was a 26.5.9. He needed 0.02 of a second to get himself onto the second row of the grid. It is, in fact, a personal best that he put up with that. He did have a bit of a problem with low compression towards the end of last season. They've done the motor over. It's all good. He says it's a bit more power. It feels a bit more perky. It holds better in the higher revs. And he can just carry the rev range just a little bit further through. We'll be starting off with the gaps between the classes. It's going to be Umpi and Marco and Jason and Jano going down into turn number 1. Right, the Class A cars with a gap between themselves and the Class Bs. Who's going to get the whole shot? There's nothing between Umpi and Marco whatsoever. Off the line they come. It's going to be Marco on the outside. Well, it's Jan van der Westhuizen that's trying to have a look on the outside line. Dylan Joubert holding very nice and tight with that fourth row. Frankie, here comes the Class Bs.
Right, the Class Bs get off the line. Eden Thompson, right behind him, it's Dario Busi. Ian Cup sits there side by side with Byron Mitchell.
Oh, Frankie, we got to pile up here on the start line. The second Class C car, I think it was Tate Bishop, did not get off the line, and it looks like he actually had it in reverse gear and he went backwards initially. Carl Wiltshire will say, thanks very much. That gives me a nice start. Oh, and this pile up on going down into turn number 2. Two cars making contact there with one another. And I do think that was Eden Thompson. And it could have been Busi, the two that made contact going through turn 2.
Yeah, it was Eden Thompson and Dario Busi. Busi finds himself now right at the back of Class B and almost in the clutches of the leading Class C cars as the leaders make their way down the back straight. We'll pick him up as they go down into turn number 5, into Fostron corner. These guys are side by side. This is Class A GTI action at its best. That's Marco Busi that leads him out of turn number 5. Right there is Umpi Swart. They are side by side as they come out of 5. Heading down towards us, Jason Kutsia sits out there in that third place. There's nothing between these boys. Then behind them is Jan van der Westhuizen, followed there by Dylan Joubert as they run it down. Colin Meader sits on the outside of Mario Roo, followed there by Kai van Sail as the 6-7 of them make their way out of turn 1 KFM corner. But it's game on as Swart tries to muscle Busi to the outside. Swart pulls in there behind Marco Busi. He dives to the outside of Marco Busi once again. And right in there behind him and trying to steal that second place away and working his way through is Jason Kutsia.
And he brings Johanna van der Westhuizen from the quick fix side of the world with him as well. Nothing much in the four of them. And had a chat recently with that young man in 4th position, and he said, I tell you what, Uncle Gary, this is going to be one of the best seasons that you're going to see in this. It's Umpi that's dropped down to 4th position. I don't know if something went wrong with him, but for some other reason, he was a bit slower up the KFM straight. The three of them now, Lineston, Marco Busi's broken slightly away. Definitely no misfire for Johanna van der Westhuizen. He's all over Kutsia. He dives to the inside line. Kutsia closes him off as they go down towards Fastron corner.
Well, the white flag was out on track. The fire bucky was taking a motor car back into the park for my area and got away just in time. But let's go back here to Class B. Lucas out there in P1. It's Ian Cup that leads him down into turn number 5, Fostron corner, with Byron Mitchell. That's there in that second place. We've got to focus on this Class B guys coming out of turn 5. Brett van der Skyf is in that pack as well as they exit turn number 5 and work their way towards a Mad Max bridge. These are those 5 Class B cars making their way towards turn 1, Gary, but the Class C cars are heading out of turn 5 right now.
Alfie van Sail saying to Carl Wiltshire, you ain't going away, buddy. I'm all there with you. Initially, it was all good for Carl with the start, and he got a bit of a gap, but Alfie van Sail has run with him head to tail without any problem whatsoever. Skalk Geldnys will be the next man coming through with a GNA sponsored car. Then the man that had the problem on the pull away, Tate Bishop, Colin Smith, and then Leanne coming through behind that. Frankie, back to Class A.
Class A working its way out of turn 4, Car Care Clinic. That's what it's all about. Oh, look at Marco Busi. He's using the track and more. There's a lot of dust as they run down the back straight. This is the Class A boys at their very, very best as they head down into turn number 5, Fostron corner. Marco Busi coming out there, P1, right there behind him in P2 is Jason Kutsia. Kutsia sitting out there in that second place. Then who is in there behind him?
Jano.
It is Van der Westhuizen sits in P4. Then coming through now, it is Umpiswat. Then Janu and Dylan Jabir, Colin Meader and Mario Roo. They're right there with each other, followed there by Alfie. By Kai van Sale, as this whole pack of Class A cars make their way out of turn 1 KFM. But Colin Meader that sits out there in P4 is giving Jabir a workover as the two of them head now towards turn number 2, and right behind them is the Jetta 3 of Mario Roo.
Well, the Class C battle is going to be a two-way, there's no doubt about it. It's going to be Dario Busi and Alfie van Sale. Between the two of them, there's nothing much in it. And then Skalk Keldenace from Tate Bishop. But that Class A battle, it looks like Jana van der Westhuizen's moved up once again, one position. So definitely, I think Jason's picked up a problem because the gaps between the others have stayed the same. It's Jason that's fallen back.
Jason Kutsia sits there in P4 behind Jana van der Westhuizen. The four of them are broken away from Jabir, Meader, Roo, and Van Sale. And now look at Roo. Roo looks up on the inside there, wants to have a go up on the inside of Colin Meader, but Meader's got the line and going off the circuit. He's Dylan Jabir, well, almost going off the circuit in turn 5. He came out of turn 5 very, very high.
Class B battle on its way down the back straight now, and that one's opened up quite a bit. The first and second place Class B cars being Ian Cup and Byron Mitchell. Eden Thompson and Brent van Escape find themselves in close contention as they go down into Fastron, into the brake markers, and it's all systems go between the two of them. But up front, leading that class, I don't think he's going to get caught from there. He's doing a brilliant job so far, is Ian Cup. He qualified well, and I think he's going to be the man to catch here today.
Right, back to that Class A fight that's making its way through the kink and into turn number 3. Down through the kink and into turn 3 they go. Marco Busi, representing Automan Fitment Center, sits out there in P1. Umpi Swart there from Alpine Autohaus is there in that second position, chasing down the race leader. First, second, and third are 3 of the best Western Province karters you're going to find from back in the day, sitting 1, 2, 3, and 4 for that matter. Jason Kutsia still campaigning in Western Province karting, and you can see it. The karting experience coming through. They're pulling away from the other 4 cars, although Kai van Sale, also an experienced karter, but keeping in mind it's only his very, very first race in a GTI Challenge, and he's doing very, very well at that, I must say.
Colin Meader and Mario Roo running 4th and 5th in class as they come out into the front main, and that's going to be a battle royal that's going to carry on there. Marco 0.2 ahead of Umpi Swart. Umpi recovering very, very well and starting to look ominous now on the back of the Automan Fitment Center car. Oh, there's a massive rollover coming out of turn number 3. There is a white Golf that's rolled. I'm not sure who that is. It could be the 1-0, the 10 car that has rolled. Is that Geldenace? It's probably Geldenace. He rolled right over the wall.
That's Skalk Keldenace, and well, the race still continues. Driver's out the car. Driver is fine. I just saw the end of that. But looking behind them, look at that Class A dice. That Class A dice is making its way out of turn 4, and there's nothing between Busi and Swart. As they exit turn 4, as a matter of Umpi Swart is mugging that back bumper of Marco Busi. That's an Alpine Autohaus car that's chasing down the Automan Fitment Center car, and the Quick Fix entry sits in there behind them in P3 of Janu van der Westhuizen. As the 3 of them work their way out of turn number 5, there is nothing between them and Jason Kutsia, 125.920. He's the quickest man out there.
Kai van Zyl off on the just before the apex of Fastron corner, runs right out towards the tires, busy getting himself back into contention onto the circuit again. It's going to be a lonely run for him from there. They are way ahead of the Class B cars and not going to be anywhere near the back end of the Class A cars. So Marco Busi from Umpiswat, what a brilliant dice. The man that is within bird's eye vision of that, Jan van der Westhuizen, will hope that they'll slow one another up just a little bit, that they can make it a 3-car battle. But frankly, that 4-car battle behind that, Roo once again having a look up on the inside of Mida.
Yeah, well, if you have a look what's happening going through the kink towards turn number 3, that's what we have to focus on as they go through. Never mind first, second and third. Look at that 4-way dice that's heading out of turn number 3 now. There's nothing in between. This not Colin Meader is in that pack of cars. So is Mario Roo. He's right in there as well. Jason Kutsia, he's launching a massive comeback. He sits in there with the Mario Roo and he loses a bit of ground as Dylan Jabir makes his way past in the Euro Blitz Polo as they race down the back main. That's the battle for 4, 5, 6 and 7 in Class A, working its way down into turn 5 Fastron.
Well, Class B, as we expected, has opened up just a little bit. It's all about Ian Cappett's broken away from Byron Mitchell and Eden Thompson. 0.4 of a second between Byron Mitchell and Eden Thompson as they work their way through Car Care Clinic out into the back main. The two of them not making any headway, trying to close up on the back end of Ian Cup. And I think that's pretty much where they're going to end, barring unforeseen circumstances, with 1 lap to go for our Class A leaders.
This is the final lap, and the Class A leaders are making their way into turn number 2. Into turn 2 goes your Class A leaders, first, second, and third. Marco Busi, Umpi Swart, and Janu van der Westhuizen. Janu needs a little bit more just to catch up to the two of them ahead of him. Then there's a bit of a gap. Then it's a fight for 4, 5, 6, and 7 in the Class A, making its way through the kink. Dylan Jabir is right there with him. Ahead of Dylan Jabir's Mario Roo. He was all over the back bumper of Colin Meader as Meader pulls away there from Roo, and Roo falls now into the clutches of Jabir as they exit turn 4 Car Care Clinic.
Umpiswat got a bit of a run on the back there of the lead Automan car of Marco Busi. Busi just ran the tail end just a little bit loose as they entered turn 4, and they just scrubbed off a bit of speed. That's brought Umpi right back into play. Now it's going to be pedal to the metal as they run their way out of Fastron corner, Cape Town, turn 5. Busi's done enough. It's all about Marco Busi and Umpiswat. Umpiswat's closing as they come to the line. It's Busi from Swat, from Van der Westhuizen as they come across the line. Look at this battle, Frankie.
Yeah, they come down towards us now. It's going to be Colin Meader from Mario Roo, from Dylan Jabir, from Jason Kutsia. And that's how they end in Class A. Class B fight, Gary, is making its way towards turn 5.
Yep, going down towards Fastron corner, and while Ian Cup's done it all right, he's got no problems from here on out. He's just got to negate 1 more corner, 3 more gear changes, and it's going to be all said and done. He's led it pretty much from lights to flag. Eden Thompson, Byron Mitchell, massive battle between the two of them. I do believe the order they're in now is the way they're going to end. Ian Cup, here he comes now, Byron Mitchell. Yep, and Thompson coming through.
And then right behind them is Dario Busi, Brett van der Skyve coming through, and then Lady Racer Nadia Nair. She is right in there as well with the Class B guys. Where are the Class C boys? Here they come towards us. Here they come down towards us. They're always the top guns out there. And it's Carl Walcher that comes home in P1, followed by Alfie van Zyl.
Should be Colin Smith, should be the next one through. He is also on the lead lap. Here he comes through now. I think you'll be pretty happy with that one. And then it should be Geldenhuis and Rowe. Yeah, Geldenhuis is out, so Rowe will still be coming through. Let's hope that we can maybe get a nice tight shot of that car that has rolled. And I'm pretty sure you'll find the producer will go and search through his footage and see if we can pick up how that actually happened. We only picked up the tail end of it. The exit of turn 3, very, very notorious for coming out there. The tail end getting light, the curbstone pretty high on the outside, and it just keeps on turning and turning and turning. Oops, there you get a shot of the car, and it does not look too bad. Definitely left-hand front damage on that motor car, but the whole roof and front pillar structure really quite fine. You can see the driver standing there right next to the car, and well, I think he's not a happy chappie, but I think he's quite lucky to get away from that one and be standing there with no visible injuries apart from the wallet and the pride.
Yeah, I heard Tate Bishop finish his race in Class C, and that 94 Golf sounded very rough when he crossed the line to take the checkered flag, so hopefully they can get that thing sorted out. And let's have a look at the action replay here. Yeah, that was the rollover and into the wall, and boom, over goes the Golf on the exit of turn 3.
He was actually touched from behind, and look, they were very marginal at that stage of the fight. The lightest touch there, and it will unsettle the motor car. But such is motorsport. If you want to get to the front, look at that. Yeah, just drifted out towards the outside, touched the back of Bishop. That turned him around, and from there on out, all he could do was make sure the windscreen wipers don't go on so that they don't get damaged. Hold on to the steering wheel, tuck your ears in, and wait for the happiness to end. About fourth in class, having won the first race, Alfie van Zyl, Tate Bishop, and Colin Smith going to be there in front of him. Jason Kutsia, who was there and thereabouts, had a bit of a off line slightly here and there, find himself losing out initially with that Class A battle and not managing to catch up. And the difference in the cars, driver combinations just being too small, now finds himself on the front row of the grid with Umpi Swart alongside him and Marco in there behind that. That means that Jan van der Westhuizen finds himself now on the second row of the grid on the inside of Marco. Now, Jason with the CK Coachworks car is very, very quick. I tell you what, he might just be able to hold off the likes of Umpi and Marco. If anybody can, Jason and or Jano are in with a chance of doing that. Surely the smart money's got to be on Umpi and Marco over a full 8 or 10 lap race. This one going to be 8 laps, so pretty much a sprint event. The Class B cars, Eden Thompson and Dario Busi, from the winner of that race, Ian Kapp, and alongside him, Brian Mitchell. So the front end of Class B is going to be a snobber knocker of note as well. Off the line they come, nothing much in it. Colin Meter getting a good run. Off the line, Colin Meter making up a bit of space. Jan van der Westhuizen right in there behind Kutsia. On the outside line is Umpi Swart. They're going to turn number 1. Frankie Class B.
Class B making the move off the line, and as was expected, Eden Thompson on the inside, Dario Busi on the outside. P3 is Byron Mitchell. Right behind him is Brett van der Schyff, followed there by Ian Kapp. Ian Kapp is in the house as well, and then the lady racer Nadia Nair. That is your group of Class B cars heading towards turn 2 as the Class C boys get underway, and they're making their way out of turn 1 KFM corner.
First and second in Class C, starting third and fourth, finding themselves third and fourth still as they go down into turn 2. Umpi Swart leading out there from Kutsia, and the Automan Fitment Center man as well in there in that second position through the Car Care Clinic corner out into the back main. Kutsia all over the back of Busi in the Automan car. Jan van der Westhuizen once again falling just slightly off that front group of 3. Colin Meter right in there under his back bumper.
Right, the leading cars make their way into turn number 5. That's the Class A cars. Look at that. There's nothing between these boys as they exit turn number 5, Fostron corner. Right up front, it's Yuri Umpi Swart that leads him under the Mad Max motorcycle bridge, with Marco Busi in there behind him. Jason Kutsia and Jan van der Westhuizen round off the top 4. Now Mario Roux has a look up on the inside of Colin Meter, and no, he doesn't make the move, stick the Armida. Right behind them, it's Dylan Jabir, followed by Kai van Zyl. And those are your Class A cars heading towards turn 2.
Dario Busi having a look at the front end of Class B as they go down into KFM corner. And Busi now ahead of ex-champion Eden Thompson, Byron Mitchell leading the best of the rest of the Class B cars. But a bit of a gap back to Byron Mitchell. Nothing much behind that. The Class C battle going down into turn number 1, KFM corner, and running wide. Unfortunately, there was Colin Smith. He was doing so well, and that has cost him the lead.
Well, that lead now goes to Master Tate Bishop. Tate's sitting out there in P1 as they head into turn number 2. And coming through as well now are those red golfs of Kyle Wilshire and Alfie van Zyl. These guys in the house as well. It's all about the 4 of them in Class C as they head into turn 3, but the leading Class A cars working their way through turn 5, Fostron corner.
Fostron corner on the exit. Who's going to make it out there? It's Umpi Swart. In there behind that is Marco Busi in the Automan car. Then it is Kutsia closing up just a little bit. Is Johan van der Westhuizen. He brings with him Colin Meader having his best run so far. Mario Rue in there behind that. Then it's Dylan Joubert working their way down into turn number 1, KFM corner. Marco Busi wants this one so bad. Marco Busi all over the back of Umpi Swart. He brings Kutsia with him. Up the Joubert straight they go now. Is Busi going to go for that brake marker again? Johan van der Westhuizen hopes he does, because he's got Colin Meader all over his back bumper. He's got a bit of open space. He needs to catch them. Busi loses the tail end slightly, keeps the hammer down, holds the gap between himself and Kutsia. Kutsia rolled off the gas. That's brought Johan van der Westhuizen closer.
And right there with van der Westhuizen, Colin Meader and Mario Rue, they're all in the house as they make their way out of turn number 3. But this has now released Dario Busi. Marco, I'm talking nonsense. Umpi Swart is getting so exciting out there. Umpi Swart sitting out there down the back main. Is the Alpine Autohouse car. Down the back main he goes. Marco Busi in second. Jason Kutsia in third. Followed by Van der Westhuizen, Meader, Rue, Joubert and Van Zyl as an whole pack of Class A cars roll down into turn 5.
Class B coming out into the bottom end of the back main. It's all about Dario Busi. Dario Busi is leading out Class B. He's made his way to the front of the pack, but he's not going to have it all his own way. In fact, he's blocking the line from Eden Thompson as they work their way down the back main. Behind that is Byron Mitchell, has broken away from Ben van der Skate and Ian Cap, and it is still Tate Bishop that leads out that Class C battle. Marginally, very marginally there from the race 1 winner, Kyle Wilshire, as they work their way down to Fastron corner.
Well, down into Fastron goes those turn 5. Somebody going very slow. That's Thompson. That's Eden Thompson. I just picked him up on the monitor going very slow. As a matter of fact, he's pulling off just before the Mad Max Motorcycles bridge. But we keep an eye on the Class C cars heading down the main straight. This is the dice for the leading Class C that's working its way down the main straight into turn 1 KFM corner. And it's Tate Bishop. Tate Bishop, can Tate Bishop take a maiden victory in his opening race at Kalani Main Circuit in GTI Challenge Class C? He may just do that. This young Western Province karter is very good. And he's got Kyle Wilshire right on his case as they head into turn number 2. Then Colin Smith has been hassled there by Alfie van Zyl. That's your 4 Class C cars making their way through the kink and heading down towards turn 3.
Class A coming out of turn 5, Cape Town corner. Out of Fastron they come as they work their way up towards the front main. It's still about Umpi Swart. In there behind them is the Automan car of Busi. It's Kutsia, that's the next one coming through. Once again, Johan van der Westhuizen losing out just a little bit of ground and not being able to hold onto the toe of those front 3. He's got Colin Meader and Thompson and Joubert right in there behind him. And, well, what can I say? Dylan Joubert still ahead of Kai van Zyl. Kai van Zyl doing a very good season opener.
126.288 by car 77. Jason Kutsia, Class A. He is the quickest man and he sits in 3rd place right there behind Marco Busi as they head through the kink and working their way towards turn number 3. It is Umpi Swart that sits out there in P1. Marco Busi in 2nd, using the track and more. In that 3rd position is Jason Kutsia. We have a slight gap before we see Jano van der Westhuizen. All over his back bumper is Colin Meader and Mario Rue as they work their way down the back straight towards turn 5 Fastron.
Dario Busi leading out now quite comfortably with the demise of his biggest competition that's pulled off, and he finds himself in a very comfortable lead in Class B.
Right, the Class B cars are now heading towards turn number 4. Down the back main they go, the Class B cars. Down the back straight now, and it is still Dario Busi who is getting further and further down the road. Remember that Eden Thompson got it all wrong and has retired. Look at Ian Cup. Ian Cup was all over the back. Bumper, Byron Mitchell. Mitchell gets muscled to the outside. Cup has a look up on the inside. They side by side, heading down into turn number 5, Fostron corner. Ian Cup has got the line, and Ian Cup will make the move stick in turn 5 on Byron Mitchell.
Leading Class A cars down into turn 2, 3 to go. It's Umpi Swart from, once again, Boosie that's letting the tail end slide just a bit. Kutsia doing a very decent job in 3. Jan van der Westhuizen losing out to Colin Meader. Colin Meader goes up the inside. They side by side through the kink. Jano van der Westhuizen won't roll out of the gas. Surprisingly, Jano backs out of that one, lets Colin Meader go through, dives immediately on the ultimate cutback up on the inside of Meader. I'm sure he's going to make that one stick. This time Meader rolls out of the gas and lets Jano go. You can't go through there at 150, 160 side by side and come out on top. Kutsia and Boosie is a little bit further forward, and they are side by side, Frankie, down towards Fastron.
Well, where do you look? Because there's a dice for first and second in Class B. There's a dice for first and second in Class C. And then you've got this coming out of turn number 5 as well. The point is it's happening all the way around the track, Gary. But it's amazing stuff. This is a dice now for second and third position in Class A. And it's between Boosie and Kutsia.
And look at behind that, Jano van der Westhuizen, Colin Meader, and then Eden Thompson as they work their way down to Cape Town corner. It doesn't get any better than this GTI Challenge at its best. Cheaper Cars being the sponsor for this season. That Class C battle, the new boy, Tate Bishop. Frankie, you spoke highly of him. You fancied him to do well. Did you think he can do a maiden victory?
Well, I believe he can, because they've got about a lap and a half still to go. But I want to have a look at this dice coming towards us for second and third in Class B. There goes your Class B leader. That's Dario Busi. Here comes the second and third. That's Ian Cup and Byron Mitchell. They're having a go at each other for second and third position. They followed there by Brett van der Schyf and by Nadia Nair. So that fight for second and third in Class B is not over as the fight continues for Class C Honours. Going into turn 1 now in Class C Honours into KFM corner. Tate Bishop, and can he beat Carl Wiltshire? I believe yes, he can.
Well, Carl Wiltshire's just decided that he's going to close the gap and get even closer. So nothing much there between Carl and the newcomer Tate Bishop. Carl winning heat number 1. Can this young lad do a maiden victory on his second race ever in the Bratpack Class C? Talking about ex-Brat Packers, it's Umpi Swart at the front end of Class A on his way down to turn number 1. He's now broken away completely with 1 lap to go from Marco Busi. Kutsia in third. It's Van der Westhuizen in fourth, Meader in first, Roo in sixth, Joubert in 7th, and they are now spread out. I think where they are, Class A, Frankie, that's where they're going to end.
Well, this is the final lap as they head into turn number 2. They've got just over half a lap to go with Umpi Swart in P1. There was a bit of a lock-up there in that second place by Marco Busi, but he's very good as Marco climbs on the gas and pulls 2 car lengths on Jason Kutsia, a young man that is also awesome out there. He's Jason Kutsia, and they're getting away there from Jano van der Westhuizen, who's been mugged there by Colin Meader and by Mario Roo. Not too far behind them is Dylan Joubert and Kai van Sail. That is your Class A battle. As the Class B dice, well, we know the leader there is Busi, but the fight for second and third is not on. But go to the leading Class A cars heading into turn 5 towards the checkered flag.
Yeah, and just before we go to them as they come across the line, Tate Bishop with 3/4 of a lap to go, leading out from heat number 1. Very experienced man out there in Carl Wiltshire. They're going into turn 2. Coming up to win this one, Class A Cheaper Cars GTI Challenge. It is Umpi Swart from Marco Busi, from Kutsia, Van der Westhuizen, Meader, and Roo. As fast as you can say the name, Dylan Joubert coming through behind that, and then Kai van Sail. Class B battle, Frankie, next up towards the line.
Well, the checkered flag has come out. The Class A cars have taken that one already. We're waiting for the Class B winner to head towards the checkered flag. Here he comes out of turn 5 towards the bridge. And that is going to be a lovely win for Dario Busi. Dario Busi will bring it home in P1 across the line. Here comes second and third towards us. Ian Cup is going to finish in second. Byron Mitchell is going to finish in third. Brett van der Skyf should finish in that fourth position. Yes, he does. Followed there by Nadia Nair, the lady racer. Those are your Class B cars. And Gary, the young man, is going to do a maiden victory. Well done, Tate Bishop.
Shoes, check out the crease. Blow like I'm Bigfoot, step on the beat. Make a man's runs, let me step out the crease. When the whole push screen, gotta get